Welcome to Neely Hanukkah Sparks. My name is Beth Perkel. Alexander the Great was, of course, one of the famous leaders of the Greeks, but not only a leader of their politics, also their culture, a culture that we know was corrosive and antithetical to our own. The Gemara in Tamid, Lamed Beis, Amud Beis, tells a story that offers a fascinating slice of life, or in this particular case, as we will see, a slice of afterlife that provides a unique window into not only where he deeply was going wrong, but also telegraphs a message strongly suited for the last night of Hanukkah, as we strive to internalize the glow of this holy holiday as much as we can before the final candle flickers out tonight. Let's delve into the story now. The Gemara tells us that when Alexander the Great went up to the gates of Gan Eden, he demanded to be let in. He was answered with the verse from Tehillim, Zeh hashar laHashem tzadikim yavovo. This is the gate of Hashem, only righteous people may enter. But Alexander was undeterred. But I'm a king. They call me great. There must be something you can give me from inside, he said. And so Hashem did indeed give him something, a mysterious circular object. Not knowing its meaning, Alexander decided to literally weigh its importance in the only way he knew how. He put it on one side of a scale and put all of his valuable possessions on the other side. And no matter how much gold and silver from his various conquests he added, the small circular object outweighed them all. It was finally revealed to him that the object was an eyeball. It outweighed every valuable object that Alexander had ever pursued and amassed because no matter what a person does or acquires, the eyeball is never satisfied. You can be a conqueror of nations like Alexander the Great and go around the world, accomplish and acquire everything your eyeball sees. But once the current pursuit is over, that eyeball will still want more. Shocked, Alexander asked the rabbis to prove to him the object was an eyeball. They placed some lowly dust on it, a thing of no value, something nobody pursues, and it rendered the eyeball's vision useless. Threw it into darkness, and suddenly the scale tilted completely to the side of the riches. So many messages ring true from this story to our society today. First off, note how Alexander was trying to muscle his way into Olam Haba. Sorry, but the seats are assigned there, buddy. This is something our society struggles with. The idea that not by might, but by spirit and effort, an old-fashioned work ethic, that's how things are earned. And that's what the Maccabees achieved with their ragtag effort to win a war. With few people, but with spirit and with might. Also note how Alexander, the not-so-great, as we're seeing by now, put a value on quantity over quality, which again fits right into the message of what Hanukkah can teach us to watch out for. It wasn't the quantity of oil that made the menorah light for 8 days. It was about quality. All they needed was a little pure oil with the right spark of divine ratzon, divine will to last the 8 days. And what do we say in the Al Hanisim that underscores the whole message? The words are Rabim biyad me'atim. It was a victory of the few over the many. Do you see how this gives new meaning to this? Hanukkah is a victory of showing us how it's not about quantity in life. Over and over, it's about few over the many. From battling the very culture of the Greeks itself, which we see through the story in the Gemara, through the war with the Maccabees, through the flask of oil. We need that message again now. Sometimes I worry that Hanukkah has been a bit hijacked by the present giving aspect, and my home is totally guilty of it too. But on this night, we can go back to the basics. Look at all those 8 candles burning. Watch the light fade to darkness as we go into our cold winter and realize, in this world of illusions, where a little dust on an eyeball renders a lifetime of riches from a world-famous conqueror invisible, where a little oil burning out puts us in complete darkness, where it takes so little to snuff out so much hope, we can also bolster ourselves in the notion that it's so easy also to change, to choose holiness, to turn over a new leaf of quality over quantity, to refocus on whatever our loftiest goals may be that we have put on the back burner. Because Hashem has also made this world on the flip side such that it also takes such little light to dispel so much darkness. The Jewish response to darkness is always hope. Even when you need a miracle for something to work out, the Jewish people still believe, they still have hope. There's another story in the Gemara demonstrating this on a smaller scale, a personal scale, about another miracle with candles. In Maseches Tamid, Daf Chaf Hey, Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa's daughter accidentally lights Shabbos candles with vinegar instead of oil and doesn't realize until after Shabbos begins. Incredibly distraught, her father comforts her by saying, "Don't worry, my daughter. The one who said that oil can burn can also make vinegar burn." Right? Just as Hashem created the world that oil burns, he can just as easily make vinegar burn. And sure enough, her candles not only burned, but miraculously burned for all of Shabbos, the Gemara tells us, and they even were able to use the fire of those candles for Havdalah. Another candle miracle, another message of hope and faith. Bringing it all together, it's often asked, what was the miracle of the first night of Hanukkah? Why did they search? Right? Why did they even think there could be a small flask of pure oil on that first night, right? We know that so much was destroyed, so why did they even think to look in the beginning for even a small flask? Because they had faith that from the worst tragedy something could survive. The miracle on the first night of Hanukkah was that of faith itself. The faith that something would remain with which to begin again. So even though that bit of oil that they poured in, of course they knew it would light for some time, but the miracle was that they even found it and they even thought to look. And then by the 8th night, which of course by then we all realized it was a miracle, and we find ourselves on the 8th night now. The miracle is that it lasted and they rejoiced all those days, and then even beyond when it blew out. We're still rejoicing now, all these years later. But have you ever thought about how hard it must have been to see those miraculous Beis Hamikdash candles go out? The ones that started this all. And we experience a little of that every year on the 8th night, all over again as we go into the winter months without a holiday to hold on to until the spring. And yet with the right perspective, we can keep the flame of Hanukkah burning. After all, the one who said oil could burn also could make vinegar burn. And he too, Hashem, can therefore keep our souls aflame with the inspiration instilled in us by Hanukkah, long after Hanukkah is over. Because we always have Jewish hope and Jewish perspective, the knowledge that it's quality over quantity and spirit over might. Wishing you all a beautiful and uplifting final night of Hanukkah.